Welcome to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast, where we discuss cutting-edge techniques, industry trends, and business insights to take your fence or deck company to the next level and dominate your competition. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Danner, and also the founder of Fence and Deck Marketers, the digital marketing agency that works exclusively with fencing and decking businesses. Today, I have an amazing guest for you that I'm really excited to talk with and really dig in about his business. And in the past episodes, I've been trying to do exactly that, just kind of bringing in industry experts, anybody that I think would be useful basically to fencing and decking. And today, that's absolutely what we're doing. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know about him and definitely know about his software because today I have the CEO and founder of JobTread, Eric Fortenberry. Eric, I appreciate you hopping on the podcast. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Appreciate you having me on, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad we can make this work. And I actually was introduced to Eric pretty recently through a mutual friend, Chris Breen. And Chris, along with I think everybody I've asked or knows Eric, has basically said the same thing, that he's a great guy, and I haven't heard a bad word about him. So I was excited to have him on here, and not just for the software expertise, but just to kind of unpack him. He's obviously an impressive guy and is doing some really, really big things. So I thought it'd be really fun to interview him. So obviously, Eric's a very busy guy, and he did take the time to give me kind of a demo of the software. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, something like that. And I just wanted to learn a little bit more about it because we have a lot of fence and deck clients, and I'm always looking for different ways to help them out. So he gave kind of a personalized, I would say, to fencing and decking, so I could really get a better idea about the software. And learned a lot of stuff, but I don't want to go into that myself because he'll do a lot better job about doing it himself. So, but I guess to kind of get started, Eric, if you wouldn't mind just, introducing yourself, kind of your background, I guess anything about your story leading up to, JobTread and when that got started. It'd be great to know a little background on you.
Sure. Yeah, I born and raised in Dallas, Texas. I did my undergrad at University of Texas at Austin, Hook 'em Horns. After that, I started my first software company and built that. It was software for colleges and universities, help students get involved. Took that to, it was like 650 universities in 13 countries, had over 20 million users on it when we got acquired in 2015. Towards the end of that one, I had gone back to the University of Texas at Dallas, and I ended up getting an executive master's in software engineering. So I've got kind of the business undergrad, the computer science software graduate degree there. I've always really liked both sides of the fence, if you will. And it was after my first company though that a buddy of mine was, or even before that, it was actually my landscaper who was struggling to build her business, and started kind of getting to know her. She was really great at her trade, but when I started unpacking like why she wasn't invoicing me, because I thought it was because she really valued all the advice and guidance I was giving her, I uncovered that, well, it wasn't just me, it was a whole lot of her customers. She had no idea who was being invoiced and not invoiced. And I was like, man, what's going on here? I ended up going up to her office, and I just saw like total chaos. And I never would have guessed that, because her work was like such high quality, like so polished, like, the guys showed up on time. They did, did what they needed to do. And, it was the backside of things that like, I just got, really kind of very eye-opening experience, like to see how she was struggling to manage, the business side of everything. And, I ended up helping her implement, first we implemented QuickBooks, and then we got another software up and running for, but had some frustrations, some challenges. But at the end of the day, like I saw the impact of implementing systems and processes and helping make sure she had the right people on her team, where she was now able to more consistently get her invoices out. She was invoicing the right people at the right time, improved her cash flow situation. We uncovered some really interesting insights from starting to do the job costing, where she was actually losing money and had no idea. But it was, that was kind of my first sort of experience into this. And then along the same time frame, Another buddy of mine who's running a construction company said, "Hey man, we come over, help me figure out how to scale this business." Like they were much farther along. I think they're 4 or 5 years in, doing 5 million in sales, had around 10 full-time employees, but they were just struggling to scale the business. And I remember that day that I first walked in. I mean, it was like deja vu all over again. Like papers, binders, like the chaos, just like stacks and stacks of papers just everywhere. I'm like, how are you guys managing this? And they're like, we're struggling. Like, like literally timesheets walking in the door, getting put into folders and binders. And, at some point the project manager would come along and scribble on it and approve it. And, it's just like, wow, like I immediately knew like this company also, needed some software. They needed some systems and processes to like help them scale. And, that's when I went and took a deep dive into all the construction management software I could find. And, I ended up struggling though to make a recommendation for them because, I felt like it was either like fairly antiquated, been started 10, 15 years ago, or it looked like, we would struggle to customize it to meet our needs, or it was very expensive. And, I learned a lot by studying everything that was out there. But at the end of the day, like the owners are just like, "Well, Eric, you're a software guy. Can't you just go build us something?" I was like, "Whoa, hold on. I'm not trying to take on a full-time role here. Like I'm just here to help." And they kept pushing me, and I started really thinking about it. I was like, man, like, just like my last company, like the education industry was really lagging in technology. I started to realize like this construction industry was enormous, but it was also lagging in technology. Like, so many construction companies out there that they aren't leveraging software and technology to build better, more scalable, more profitable businesses. And I just thought, man, maybe this is a good opportunity. I was already looking for something to do. And so I came back to the owners and I was like, look, guys, here are my conditions. One, I take over as CEO. I've got all the power and authority to hire, to fire, to right the ship, implement whatever systems, processes we need. Two, I'll give you 1 year of my time. So I will give you my undivided attention. I will come in every single day to the office. Like we will get this thing going, back on track, figure out how to break through that glass ceiling. And three, everything I build is my intellectual property, so that if I have the potential to create my next software company from this, if we build something great, like I need that, I need that next step. And so they agreed, made me partner, took over the business as CEO, and we got to work. And I built JobTread out of a needs basis by taking over and running this company. And I started by just shadowing the estimators, trying to understand how were they coming up with their estimates, like what was going into this, like how did we, why couldn't we hit our target profit margin? I mean, it was all over the map. Like literally, like these guys couldn't tell you until 30, 45, 60 days after a job was fully closed out if they were going to make any money or not, and so I saw the challenges there. I saw that they were really struggling to scale the operations side, not only like the financial aspects, and we weren't using POs and work orders. We weren't doing job costing. We weren't even collecting a lot of our invoices. It was kind of chaotic again. Like we were double paying bills. We were overpaying. Like we had materials on the wrong jobs, like just total chaos in the QuickBooks. But we're also struggling to schedule the guys and to manage the crews. And like, we wanted to take on more and more concurrent projects, but that just led to us dropping more balls. And so, by taking over the business and really running, this construction company, I was able to build the solutions out of a needs basis. I got to work with each and every function of the team, as well as work with our subcontractors and the people kind of who were, doing work for us, but weren't on the inside. And like they had their own set of frustrations, so I think that was really, just such a great opportunity for me to be able to bring not only my development skills, but also my business skills, and to help them, really streamline the business. And, I'm excited to say after a year, and this is in 2018, we grew them from 5 to 8 million in sales. We increased their gross profit by 43%. It turns out when you attract the right metrics and you focus on the right things, like you can build a very profitable and successful business. And, we're very excited to say last year, for the first year, they broke 20 million in sales. So, it goes to show just, getting the right systems and processes can make a whole world of difference and really unlock your potential. I find a lot of businesses just kind of really struggle to go from, working in the field on the tools to, managing the business to building out a team of people to continue to scale and grow. And so that's always just been my passion. I'm real big into entrepreneurship. I love helping other business owners. And so, after that year in 2019 was when I recruited some of my developers, designers from my last company. We started this. We spent a few years building. And then in 2021, and right after kind of COVID opened up a little bit, we were able to start getting out to trade shows. The Deck Expo was one of the first shows that we ever went to. It was actually in Dallas that year. We got out there, we started showing people what we were building. We got it to about 200 companies that first year. 2022, we got to around 1,000 customers. 2023, last year we ended at 2,200. This year our goal is 4,000. We're already over 3,600. So it's very quickly grown on us and just continued to scale. But it's been a great experience, a great journey, and we think we're really fortunate to have so many amazing customers who have trusted us with their operations, and we view them as partners. They view us as partners. Like, we're working together to help construction companies to create much more scalable and profitable businesses.
Nice, man. That is a very, very interesting journey. So I want to make sure I got this right though. So you sold your last company, and then you basically, this company that you became the CEO of, it was a contracting business, and you were just like, I'll come and fix this. I can write code and I can create the program that'll help you. Is that?
Yeah, it was like a general contractor.
Okay.
Did little bit of everything, but I originally went in thinking I would just be like, a little consultant, just kind of help them out, go find some software and help them get it implemented. And one thing led to another, and now I'm running the business and building my own software.
Nice. And you did all the development at that point, and then later you kind of brought people on?
Yeah, so
Cool.
It's funny because like when I started looking at what they were doing, they had like a whole bunch of Google Sheets that they were trying to manage this, and like then they had a template, like one of the Google Sheets is like a template that they use for every job, and so they were just cloning that same template over and over, create a Google Drive, and so like I ended up like using the backend script editor. So like in Google Sheets, there's an app script tool, and so I started just writing out all these scripts and kind of piecing this stuff together to automate it. And that's really kind of where it was born from.
Huh. Okay.
I have found every possible limit to Google Sheet that you could imagine. I actually had the Google developers, one of them had reached out to us. They're like, "Hey, we've never seen anyone hitting this limit, and what's going on?" And I had the opportunity to present what I had built to them, and they wanted me to come to Google I/O and present. I was like, "No, I think I'm going to go ahead and just keep this to myself right now." But appreciate that. But it ultimately though, like the version that I built, it wasn't scalable. It was built for that one specific company. And so as we were continuing to grow and bring on more and more, just kind of, jobs at the same time, had more users in it, like it wasn't a scalable solution. And that's why I needed to recruit some of my developers from my last company who were much better developers than I was. They did a much better job setting it up where we could actually provide it to many companies and, a whole lot more scalable.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, then, thanks for providing some, backstory on that. And I guess I want to get into some of the details of JobTread, as you guys are obviously scaling really quick, and, you went through some of the features with me the other day, but I'm curious because I know there's some other competitors out there. I mean, what would you say is really unique to you guys? Like what are some things that like really stand out that you want to you have been focusing on a lot, that you think kind of really stands out?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, first and foremost, I mean, we started this by focusing on the budget and the financials of managing a job. A lot of like project management software out there, like they've all started kind of with the project management pieces, the scheduling, things like that. And it's like, well, what's the point in scheduling a job if we're not going to make any money on it? So I think my big focus on the financial aspects was one of the most important things. And so we, at the core of every, job and JobTread is the budget. And we've been able to create this like seamless experience that like everything relates back to the budget. You need to go and figure out what is going to be every cost for you to run that job. Like when I first started shadowing these estimators, like as I suspected, they were just totally making things up. Like they were pulling numbers out of thin air. Like, the good old boy, handshake type deals. Like, this project will cost about $5,000. And, it's like, great. All right. And customer approves. And then you hand it off to the project manager. Like, how the hell did you come up with that? Like, what, you want me to go get the 30% profit margin, but like, what's in this? We couldn't even use like change orders because we had no documentation. And so, my big focus was like, look, guys, like put away your calculators, like just quit making up numbers, like focus on documenting what is every single cost that's going to go into this job, from, your labor, your materials, any equipment, like permits. Like it's so important that you focus on getting that right and documenting the scope of work, what exactly is included and what's not included in this job. And so we have really done a great job building this budget tool that you can, directly create all of your proposals from it, change orders, work orders and purchase orders, the bills and expenses, like invoices. Everything is tied back to that budget so that you don't have to continually re-enter the same information over and over and over again. That's what I saw with some of these other systems, is it was a lot of duplicate data entry, and it was a very clunky experience, whereas with us, like we're I tell people, we're not like reinventing the wheel here. The fundamentals of managing a construction business haven't changed. We're just leveraging modern technology. We have created a much easier to use, easier to learn, extremely fast and responsive application that makes it, a much, much easier process to build out, and sell your jobs. And then once you sell them, like, we want to help you in real time be able to know, how are we doing? Like, if you wait till the very end of a job and then go and you've already sent all your invoices and that final invoice to the customer, and then you start looking at all your bills, like, if something happened, if something's off, something's wrong, it's too late to try to fix that. My belief is, like, you need to know in real time. If you're going to exceed your budget, you need to know right away. If you're going to overrun that schedule, you need to know right away, and then you need to take action to try to course correct. And so I think having this kind of real focus on the financial aspects of managing your jobs is one of the biggest differences between us, and everyone else out there. And again, like I said, I mean, we have this late mover advantage that we have been able to learn from a lot of the things that came before us, and by, having our customers come to us and give us their feedback about what they like and what they don't like, we get to implement and take all of that into account. And so, I think we have been able to build a much better product than what was previously out there.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you said that was a general contractor, kind of like was born in. I know that, anybody can go to the website, you can see you guys work with, I think is it pretty much every type of contractor?
We put a very concerted focus and effort on making sure that we could set JobTread up to work for any size construction business, as well as any types of jobs. I mean, it's very important that, like, regardless if you got a 1-line item budget or a 1,000-line item budget, like, we want you to be able to use JobTread. And so it's very flexible for that. There's a lot of, like, niche solutions out there that I saw that, like, I'm just like, wow, like, why are all of these kind of individual siloed, one-offs, where they have, like, just, limited their ability to really grow and scale to the entire market. And so, we've put a big focus on making it flexible and able to work for any jobs-based business. If you're selling construction jobs and you're having to custom bid every single job, you need some sort of a tool to be able to help you do that. And so I think, from a kind of a marketing standpoint, it's definitely a challenge for us to, make it feel like it's a solution, just for deck builders, or just for pool builders, or for home builders or remodelers. But, at the end of the day, like, the tool set is applicable, and really it works for any type of construction business.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, when we did our demo, I was asking you specifically about fencing and decking, like how it works for there. I already know clients that I know of several deck builders that work on JobTread. I think there might be some fence as well, but I know that it does work for both of those really well. And Eric went through that in some pretty good detail last time. But
I think the nice thing about, again, if you are a very, focused builder on, one kind of specific trade, one industry, you're building decks or you're building fences, like, It's a very repeatable and scalable process. What we like to help our customers do is set up templates. Set up templates, and really, like, if you want to take it a step further, kind of set up some formulas where you can have formula-based takeoff, so that what is the square feet, how many, are we going to have a rail, are we going to, how many stairs are we going to have, like, some of those optional upgrades, like, by having this template pre-built, it allows our builders to very, very quickly turn out, here is the budget for this job. Here's, it'll cost you X. If you add on all the premium upgrades and options, like, it might cost you Y. But, like, enabling the contractors to very quickly know what this job is going to cost them, so that they can immediately turn around and deliver that proposal to the customer, and to have those conversations about price. That is a strategic advantage that we can give them by having their system already set up to do that.
Right. Okay.
It definitely gets a little bit harder. The more trades, if you think about like an interior remodel, or even a home builder, like, pool builders, the more trades that get involved, the more coordination that it takes to manage a full build. But I can tell you, everyone who might be doing interior remodeling, or looking at other kind of things, when they see, how deck builders can use JobTread, and how fence builders, and just how much, I mean, to some extent, it's a lot easier. And they can, turn out those estimates even faster. They don't have to go into the home, tear out, the kitchen, and replace everything while the family's living there. There's a lot of people that get very excited about, the potential of building decks and doing fences, because, that they are able to build a very, very profitable, and scalable business by doing, a little bit, kind of niching down on the type of work that they want to deliver.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you touched on this a little bit, but like when we were going through it, you were talking about the estimates. So you basically, that's what you're saying is like the templates. They're built. You have all of your custom fields, all the different costs that you have. They're set up as a template, right? And then
Yep.
from there, that's when you just kind of reuse that over, instead of a Google sheet duplicating it. You
Yep.
just reuse that template like that. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. And then on the, I think it was the outdoor living page, John Lee from Deck South. I was watching his testimonial video, and obviously they're a big company in the decking space. But he was I wanted to like highlight some of the things he talked about, because I think that would be helpful for anyone listening that's on the decking side. So he was talking about the good, better, best inside the proposal function. Can you explain that in a little more detail, how that works?
Yeah. So we have, the ability for you to either, do it on the initial proposal, where you can include and give the customer selections. You can give them the ability, you can force them to say, hey, you got to pick one. So maybe it's, are we going to, do we want to go with, this board or that board, or this product or that product, whatever it may be, you can force them to pick one, or you can also create optional upgrades. So, would you like to add in the lighting? Would you like to add in, kind of whatever those additional upgrades could be? And so the nice thing about this is that in our proposals, you're able to give the customer the ability to customize their job. So instead of haggling you on price, they can now decide like where they're comfortable, what they can afford within their budget, and they can make those selections. Maybe if that particular board is too expensive, or if that, you can't afford those upgrades, or you don't think you need them, like, you get to kind of play around with the budget, and that I've found it to be a tremendous way, for contractors to feel, like they're collaborating more with the homeowner to come up with the right solution, versus having to guess at what they want, and versus having to give them just, here's the price, it is what it is. Then if they wanted to, do something or change something, it's a bunch more work to have to go and, kind of update those, versus just like letting them have that ability to interact with the proposal. We've seen that to be a tremendous like value add and selling point for these contractors doing it. Also say, I'll never forget, right after we added that feature, one of the first builders to use it, he came back, he's like, guys, like, I just sent out my first proposal with it, and he had like over $13,000 of upgrades that he never once mentioned to the homeowner. He just threw them in there. And he said, they told me their budget. I didn't think it was in their budget. That's why I didn't push it. They literally upsold themselves. And it goes to show that, like, price isn't always everything. People don't always want to share what their real, budget is. And so by giving them the ability to make those decisions, without having to be that pushy salesman, he upsold that job, tremendously, and that paid for his job trade for the next several years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool idea too, because if you have two different, maybe they got two different quotes and you're having those add-ons, like you said, like a lighting package or whatever the case may be, if you have that option there, it kind of looks like you're the only one that can do that too. And if the other person didn't talk about it, you're like, oh, well, these guys can do this, the other one can't. I can
Yeah.
see that, really make it a lot easier, I guess, to choose which one to go with too.
Yeah, and I think it also, like, I highly recommend people, like, when you're trying to kind of sell these different options, like, you can include photos of it. And I think both, showing them kind of the product up front, but then also a couple lifestyle photos so that they can see, well, how will this look? How did this look on these other decks when they put that in, or how did that stain look on this fence? Like, being able to kind of give them visuals, it helps the prospect, the customer there, to see and to start feeling. And I'm such a big fan of, like, I would rather get, from a psychological standpoint, I want to get the customer thinking about, do I want this option or that option, versus do I want to hire this contractor or somebody else, or do I want to do this job or not? The farther and the sooner that you can get them into the process of trying to make decisions about which thing they want to do, and those specific material selections, things like that, like, you're helping them overcome some of those earlier, bigger decisions about, do we want to do this or not, to, like, oh wow, like, somebody falls in love with, this is going to look awesome on our deck, like, yeah, I want this, like, they're selling themselves. And so from a psychological standpoint, like, I think the sooner that you can get them to start having those internal debates to decide, like, what they want to do versus if they want to do it, it really helps progress the deal along.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And one other feature that, well, I guess this is a little bit different, but I want to ask you about this too. So the activity feed, I was watching the videos on that. I don't think we talked about it when we did our call, but I got to seeing, through the website what that's all about. Can you kind of explain that, how that works between, works for contractors and their teams?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we're all very, very used to Facebook and to feeds these days. Like, it's just, the notion of kind of scrolling and getting caught up on things. So, like, what we did is we designed this, this feed. So every job has its own dashboard where you can see a feed of all of the activity, every single thing that's happened on that job from the very moment you created it, to who did what, to what conversations have been had, what decisions have been made, what proposals have been sent, selections, all the tasks, the scheduling, the invoicing, like, everything for that job is in this one dashboard where you can see that activity feed. And then, the neat thing too is that you can kind of zoom up to the top level where you can see all the activity across all your jobs in one location. So obviously, a lot of builders, business owners, very busy. You might not be able to keep up with it throughout the day, but at the end of the day, you just pull up your JobTread on your phone there, and you can see everything that happened that day. You can see the visuals, the pictures, the daily logs, the everything that has happened across all your jobs. It's now in one easy to digest activity feed that, we've just heard tremendous, people just tremendous, like, praise for how easy it is now to keep up with everything. One of the big challenges when I was running the construction business, it's like, well, how do we scale the number of concurrent jobs, without having to add a whole bunch more people? And I came to realize that, a lot of times the project manager is like, if you're having to be on the job site babysitting every single crew and every single build, like, that's not scalable. For me as a business owner, I needed to be alerted about where which jobs are getting off track and off the rails. And, like, so many times, it just mistakes that, like, if I would have had a visual, I would have known. Like, for example, we had this big project where we needed to replace the fence on one side of the property. And so the guys go out there, they do the work, they put, take out the existing fence, put up the new one. And the homeowner calls, he's like, hey man, like, that, what you built is awesome, but that's the wrong side of the property. I needed the other, this other fence replaced. It's like, wait, what? Like, if I would have been able to see a progress photo or something in real time about what's happening that day, like, I would have spotted that. Another time we had this huge, this huge barn door. There are like 5 of these kind of barns out on this property, and they needed to replace one of them. We literally took out this massive barn door and we replaced the wrong door. And this goes to show, and it kind of comes back to like where my guys, when I ask the subs, like, hey, what's your biggest challenge? Like, they're like, we show up to the job site and we don't know what to do. We don't have the specifications. We don't have photos. We can't get a hold of the project manager. And it's like, it was so apparent that like having the right information at your fingertips is so important. And that's where, again, as a business owner, I could now scan and see across all my jobs. I could see those progress photos, those progress videos, and I didn't have to be out on the job site every single one. It gave me the ability to be more, reactive and say, hey, wait, whoa, that doesn't look right. And then I step in versus needing to like, drive all over town and try to like get the, get that, that on job site experience. I could see it now visually.
Yeah. And you mentioned subs. That's another thing I wasn't really thinking about, but can you invite subs to like individual jobs? So that way you're like, all right, these guys are on this job, but they can only see these jobs.
Yeah, exactly. So we have kind of what we call internal users, which is like, your employees. And then you've got external users, which could be your subcontractors, suppliers, trade partners, all of your customers. Those are like external users. So they just get invited, to the jobs that they're on and they're participating in, so that they can then, see everything, get all the plans. They know what they need to do. They can, mark off their task when they complete them. They can upload photos, submit daily logs, upload their bills, have all the back and forth communication, but it's something that like, it's very seamless. When you send them a work order, you send them or assign them to a job, they get a notification, they just click it and it takes them straight to it. Like, they don't have to create an account. They don't have to download anything.
Nice.
They just like instantly get access to the information that's relevant to them.
Yeah, I'm sure that helps a lot too. If, they're not very tech savvy, just kind of clicking and bringing them right to it without having to figure out too much. Okay. And then I wanted to talk about integrations for, if anybody's, I guess, worried about, if they have certain types of software that they use are kind of like pivotal to their company. I know when we spoke, you said integrations are huge. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What kind of integrations you offer and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'd say my co-founder had the notion of like, making JobTread like an API first company. So that means like it's an API is an application programming interface. And that's what allows data, to come in and out and to be, shared with other systems, other applications. I mean, like the JobTread application actually consumes our own API, but having this notion of like being this like API first company means that we have, truly built out a platform that enables all sorts of other applications to be able to be integrated with it. At the end of the day, like I believe that like, construction companies need to be thinking about, the entire ecosystem of tools that they need to manage their business. There's no such thing as one software that's going to do it all. The silver bullet just doesn't exist. And so you need to find the right solutions, and really, as few solutions as possible, but the right ones that can connect and play well with others is what's going to give you the best, most seamless experience. If you're having to, do something in one system and then copy paste it into another, like, again, that you've introduced a manual process that is error prone. Versus, by having this seamless integration, data can flow, from one system to the other and back and forth, and it just keeps everyone on the same page without having to have, that manual intervention. And so, probably the most important, integration I would say is going to be with your accounting system. We integrate with both QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop. I heavily discourage QuickBooks Desktop. QuickBooks Online is really, where it's at. But we have a really great, two-way sync with QuickBooks Online. And again, it eliminates the need for that whole, duplicate entry. To give you a specific story, like when I took over this business, we had over $800,000 of AR. And I'm like, how in the hell does that happen? And to make things worse, the owners were taking the AR, they were collateralizing it at the bank and taking out $200,000 line of credit one after another to fund cash flow, to make payroll. Like it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. It's like, how in the world does that happen? We already earned that money. Well, the way it happened was that the field guys were telling the back office, this lady, Adriana, she's awesome. They were telling her like, hey, can you send the invoice? And so she, immediately got the invoices out, but she was so overwhelmed with everything else, with all the AP, the AR, like that she just assumed that the field guys were going to be, keeping up with it and making sure we're getting paid.
Yeah.
Well, the field guys have no visibility into QuickBooks. So they have no idea. And basically, we both are, everyone's pointing the finger at each other, and we're just dropping those balls. And so that's where I realized, like, wow, like, we need to connect, and get the field, visibility into our QuickBooks. But we don't need a bunch of cooks in that kitchen. Like, we just need them to know, hey, here's our outstanding, open invoices. Like, make sure we're getting paid, or we need to stop work. And so by having that two-way sync, that really brought everybody on the same page. And so that's, again, that's just one example of an integration. But like, we've got some, some awesome integrations out there, help you collect online payments. You can offer your customers, directly offer them financing, if they need to finance their project. We got Nice Jobs integration, Company Cam, they're payroll with Gusto. So there's a lot of integrations out there. And the neat thing though, is that it's really like, it doesn't require them to actually or for us to actually have to build the integration. Like, it's an open API where any third party can build onto the platform and can extend it, and then we're also really big on Zapier, which is like a middleware piece of software where, like, they integrate with over 5,000 applications. And so we've got a really awesome Zapier integration where, like, anything that happens in JobTread, you can create triggers and actions to, push that data or do something in some other system. And so you can create these elaborate, like, automations and workflows. And I think that's like the value and the power of having that, our own API, is that it enables all of these other systems to be connected and to play well with others.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, when you were talking last time, I think just about Zapier alone, I mean, just being able to use that integrates with like pretty much everything too. So, okay. And then I'm curious. So a lot of times, fencing, decking contractors, some of them aren't as tech savvy. So I wanted to, somebody that might be listening to this, maybe is worried just about like learning it. So, what kind of trainings, like, how does that work? When somebody's like, all right, let's do this. How does it work with like training to get them up to speed? How do you typically handle that?
Yeah, great question. And I would say this is probably another thing that really differentiates us from everyone out there. Like, I am very big on customer service. We are a software company, but we're also a services company. And I, again, I'm passionate about helping other entrepreneurs and other businesses to build, successful companies. And so, every single customer that signs up for JobTread, they get a dedicated customer success manager. And so our whole customer success team has experience in construction. We require you to have experience in construction. Now, whether you were, an estimator, a project manager, a business owner, I mean, we got the full gamut here, but like, it's very important that we understand what our customers are going through and what it is like to be part of a construction company. And so I believe that really helps us to immediately relate and to be able to understand what they're going through. And so, you have that dedicated person to help coach you and guide you. We will help you with the implementation. We will help you migrate, from other systems. But another really cool thing that we've got, so we also have a dedicated training team, a learning and development team where the lady that runs it, so Anna, Dr. Anna Hunter, she actually has a PhD in organizational change management and leadership, and she has created like this entire curriculum to help people learn JobTread. And it's not just JobTread. It's also, process mapping and trying to help them to understand how they can build a much more cohesive team where everybody's working together. Everybody knows their roles and responsibilities. And like, we provide live trainings every day, or you can go in and you can kind of watch the recorded ones whenever you want. But like, we provide a lot of content and education to help people. And she also we have a whole certification program built into JobTread where you can go through and you can get certified. You can, get estimator certified, project manager, administrator, bookkeeper. Like, there's all sorts of certifications. There's crash courses that we provide if you want to have your, have your team kind of dial in for a few hours to really go through a deep dive. We also do beginner boot camps here in Dallas, Texas, at our headquarters. Usually it's like every other month we host whoever wants to come out, usually 50, 60, 70 people will come, and we'll do a 2-day immersive, boot camp to help them, quickly get up to speed and learn JobTread. And then we have our big annual event is every January. It's JobTread Connect, our user conference, where again, people come from all over the country, really all over the world, to participate in this 3-day user conference where, not only can you learn JobTread, and JobTread skills, and some of the people who might already have, they got the basics, but they want to learn the more, intermediate and advanced uses, they can come, but just also general business skills, like whether you're an estimator or a salesperson or a bookkeeper, like, being able to network and collaborate with others. We put a lot of focus on trying to build this community around JobTread to help people, feel like they're, it can be very lonely as a business owner, as I'm sure you know. And so having, a community of people who are going through the same things is such a valuable resource that, we put a lot of effort to make sure that, if you have questions, if you need help, if you want to talk to a similar business, like, you've got all of that at your fingertips with this JobTread community.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess your in-house support too. I think you said I think I saw you won some awards for that. So if anybody needs or has questions about how to use their software, I mean, they can call, I believe, and even text.
Yeah. I mean, we have an entire dedicated team, to help our customers, whether you call in, you email in, however you get a hold of us. Like, we definitely, like, we pride ourselves on our responsiveness. We have a big support dashboard that shows, so for every call, in the last 7 days, 30 days, and 12 months, what percentage was handled exceptionally, acceptable, or too slow. So if we get a call, and obviously if we answer it, well, that's, the best case. But if we miss the call or it goes to voicemail, because I mean, we do have, it's like 4 or 5 people on that team. But, again, with the sheer volume of all of the customers and users, like, we say if we can respond within 15 minutes of that call, like, that's exceptional. If it's within an hour, that's acceptable. Anything over than an hour, that's too slow. Same thing with email. Nice. So if you email in, we give an hour to respond. 2 hours is acceptable, but not exceptional. And anything over that is too long. Same thing with our imports. And we're looking at business hours. So if it's on the weekend or at night, if you take the call, if you respond to the email, like, it's automatically exceptional, because we don't work 24/7, but I had to say there are a lot of us that actually probably work a little more than we should. But we do really try to be there for our customers. We put a lot of effort on making sure that we have exceptional customer service. Like, there's nothing worse when you need help and you can't get it, and we will not be that company. We will be here for our customers.
Nice. Yeah, that's I mean, that is always huge. If you have to sit there and wait, like, I mean, I would say the standard has got to be like 24 hours, like maybe worse. I don't know. Like the average of software companies, usually it's pretty brutal. Yeah. So that is a huge advantage. Okay. And then any kind of like future developments that you guys have in the works? Anything that you get like a sneak peek into?
Man, well, we got a lot of things in the works. I'm not sure when this will air, but we do have something coming out tomorrow. So every kind of couple months, or sort of whenever we have big updates, I'll do a I like to call them town halls, but they're kind of like a live product update where we invite all of our customers, even prospects, the people in the market. We invite them to come to our to these webinars. We usually 400, 500, 600 people will show up. And so, tomorrow I'm announcing this awesome new feature where you can actually directly, like in JobTread, you'll now be able to take, mini photos, draw on them, upload them. Like, you can already take photos and upload them, but like, you can only take one at a time. And we're having to use, either, the Android or the iOS camera. Well, we've actually built our own camera app now directly in there. A lot of people are like, I want to take, 5, 6, 10 photos at once. And so we've made it where they can now do that. We also added some offline support. So, if their phone crashes, if their battery dies, if they just quit the app for whatever reason, like, it's all stored locally. So it's kind of our first dabble in some offline support there. We just rolled out a big messaging update where you now have, like, we've centralized all the communications, all the messages. They're all now in one spot. People are really excited about that. We've started working on some on-screen takeoff. A lot of times people have, a set of plans or drawings, and they need to be able to, basically set the scale and kind of measure, what's the square feet or the linear feet, or how many, posts, or how many doors or windows or whatever it may be. we're essentially working on integrating our own on-screen takeoff. We have like the formula-based takeoff right now, where what a lot of builders, especially deck builders, fence builders, will just go in and kind of plug in certain measurements, certain parameters, if you will, and that can just immediately spit out the entire budget. But as again, some people might have plans that they need to actually do the measurements. We're adding that. We got a lot in the hopper, man. Like our team is very, very
Sounds
active
like it.
and continuing to build the product based on our customers' feedback. So directly in JobTread, you can actually see in the help desk, there's a what's new tab where it shows you every single feature release. Like we are adding features constantly, but we put out full videos to explain it, to walk them through. So I think it's we try to manage we don't want to change too much too quickly. But we do want to be continually improving the product. I think that's something very important. When you're looking to implement any software, is the team continuing to improve? Are they listening to their customers, and are they making updates? A lot of software, they might have outsourced it to some offshore company who kind of built something and then handed it off, and there is no more updates. Or they got to go pay to have updates done. Like that's not our deal. Everything, and my entire team, everything's done in-house, and that lets us, be very responsive and continue building.
Nice. Yeah. And you mentioned this, I think so. Like you said you get customer feedback. I mean, is that just like kind of what you hear on your calls, or like do people have like a portal or something they can communicate with? Like how does that work?
Yeah, so again, we got all of our customer success team who interfaces every day with our customers. They collect feedback. We have a super active JobTread Pros Facebook group. I think we're almost 3,800 members in there. Where it got to the point though where we got so much feedback, so many ideas, and like I'm still kind of playing the product manager role. I was trying to have to go manually log everything, and so finally what we did is within JobTread, when you're logged into the application, if you go to the help desk, there's a feature request section. And this is where basically you can go and search for all the existing feature requests. You can sort them by popularity. You can go upvote, existing feature request, or if something you're looking for is not there, you can create your own. And so this has been a tremendously helpful tool for me and for our team to manage, all of the feature requests and all of the feedback. And so, again, we sort it by popularity. We can look at what are the top things that our customers would like to see us implement. And so that again really
Nice.
helps us to manage our development and our roadmap, because at the end of the day, like we want to make sure we're doing the things that are going to make the biggest impact to our customers, our users, and the market as a whole. And so this is what really helps to guide, that development and that roadmap. I'm not saying like we're going to like, just because it's at the very top, that doesn't mean we're going to like do it next every time. We might have some kind of bigger vision, and sometimes there you got things got to happen before the others, and you got some building blocks and foundations you got to put in. But it is very, very helpful for us to keep a pulse on what our customers want, and we're very actively like seeking feedback and want that collaborative process. Like I tell people, like we don't have to solve all of the problems anymore. Like we have so many amazing customers who can come to the table with us and can help us understand the challenges, present potential solutions that they think might be good. We can kind of evaluate that. We can take in a bunch of different, viewpoints, and that's ultimately what helps us come up with the right solution that will meet the needs of the most number of people.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I am curious. So if somebody, or I guess one of my last questions was, somebody is using an existing software, I guess a competing software, and they're like, hey, let's switch over. How does that look? Like, is it, how does that process look? I'm sure you guys have not read, a good bit about it. I know you have a process for it, but if you could kind of explain like what it's like if someone's like, hey, this is cheaper and better,
Yeah.
it seems like you guys are, I guess, how would you explain that?
Yeah, so kind of two parts. I mean, one, it sort of depends on what system you're coming from and what export tools they provide. And then two, I think there's really there's a conversation that has to be had to say, okay, what data do you currently have? What information is critical to move over? I mean, obviously, if you got a customer list, you got leads, your subs, that you're like all of that information. Yeah, like you can typically export and then just import it right into JobTread. Sometimes though, when we start looking at, a bunch of historical data, all of these jobs and being able to kind of get some of the financials of it. Like, we first want to know, well, has that already been created in your accounting system? Like, do you already have records of all that in your QuickBooks or, like, it's about kind of figuring out like what is critical that needs to be moved over. What formats can we get the data out of that system, and then how, because we have really great import tools, but like we got to get it out and we got to get it formatted. So a lot of times it's, it's as simple as kind of an export import, but there are times where people really want certain information, or, just if we can't get it, in some bulk format or some export, we do have we do have a guy who will, we can basically outsource to him, and he will just brute force manually, thing by thing, item by item, click by click, we'll move everything over. I mean, it's it is an overseas helper here, if you will. But we have done a lot of manual moving if need be. We just want to make sure that it's absolutely business critical, because a lot of people actually want to start with a fresh start. They already have the data, they already know the finances, they've already got all that information into their QuickBooks. You don't necessarily need to recreate every single job you've ever run in your company's history.
Right.
Moving forward, you can, sometimes it's nice to have that clean start. I do see a lot of times, and for larger projects, sometimes I recommend that they finish out their projects on their current system, because it's not always best from a customer experience standpoint to try to switch things up in the middle of a job. I think it's important that, you're very mindful of the customer's experience. And so, a lot of times we do recommend they finish out existing jobs, but start building and running new jobs over on JobTread.
Yeah. I could see how that could be all kinds of craziness, especially as you're learning new software too. Okay. And then pricing, can you just touch on that so everyone knows, how much it costs?
Yeah. So it's $199 a month. That includes your first user. Each additional like internal user, like, employee, right? It's another $20 per user per month. Once you add more than 10, the price, it scales down for the next 10, and it goes down to 15, and then down to 10, and down to 5. So it's like a tiered pricing structure. So as you add more users, those incremental user costs go down. We do also offer an annual where you can prepay for the 12 months and basically give you a 20% discount. So instead of it being $199, it's $159. And then each additional user is, I don't know, 16 or 15 bucks. And so it's, we got those two different options. I mean, I recommend people, look, hop in there. You can just go to our website, create your account. We got a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you get in there and you don't think it's a good fit for you, that's totally fine. No harm, no foul. Well, you can cancel at any time. We'll put the money right back on your credit card. It's something that, we want to earn our money. We're not trying to like have big, long contracts and get you, hold you hostage here. Like, we want to find the companies that, are going to be a right fit. And so I would even encourage you, if you're not sure, we got a ton of YouTube videos and content that you can read on our website. But we're also happy to take the time to walk you through and show you a demo of JobTread. Right from our website, you can schedule a demo. Our sales team here will spend an hour with you, walking you through it, answering any questions, helping make sure that you understand what we do and how this will help you. And so that's also a great option for anyone who wants to learn more before they dive in.
Yeah. And if somebody is, they like what they hear today, or they, do additional research online, they're like, hey, I'm ready to go. What would you say best first steps? Like, how do they get started, I guess?
Yeah, I would just go to our website, www.jobtread.com, and you just click the sign up button that walks you through. You create your organization there. You select, you want the monthly or the annual. Again, you can upgrade to the annual at any point. So there's really no reason to start with that if you don't want to. Some people like to just have one invoice, and it's a nominal cost. If we can save you from losing money on any one job, it just paid for itself. Or if we can help you win more jobs and grow the business, help you learn your numbers, sell much more profitable jobs. Like, again, like my goal here is to keep JobTread as affordable as possible. Our strategy is and really our vision is to be the standard for construction management. We want to get JobTread into tens of thousands, eventually hundreds of thousands of construction companies' hands all over the world. And to do that, we're going to keep it as affordable as possible. I think we might be the only software company in America that didn't raise our price. We feel like $199, it's a fair price. We're doing just fine. We can afford to grow and scale the business at that price. And I'm a big believer that, like, as you come in and start off, even a solo owner operator, 2, 3, 5-person shop, as you grow, as you bring on more employees, that's how we win too. Another $20 per month, for an employee, if you think about their salary, if they're not covering $20, then you probably have some bigger issues. But like, we don't like doing the whole, some software companies out there that they price based on features, and they have buckets, and they just move what's included in each bucket, from bucket to bucket. It's always, they're always trying to charge you more and make more money. That's not our strategy. That's not our goal here. We truly want to be the standard, and we want to help as many possible construction companies, entrepreneurs, business leaders. We want to help you build a more successful business. That's why we're doing this. We're really excited about that, and I think that our pricing models is very attractive to most businesses.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. When you first told me the price, I was pretty blown away, to be honest. I mean, 199. I mean, even if you're a tiny company, like it's that is easily affordable by anybody. And kind of like you were saying, if you have everything more organized, it's kind of a more profit first software, I guess it kind of sounds like. So
Yeah,
you have your costs covered, and very quickly could get that money back. And even if you didn't, I mean, 199 is very affordable regardless,
It's pretty funny. We actually, I mean, sometimes we hear they can't afford it, too expensive, but I would say we actually hear more like, why is this so cheap?
That's what I would say.
What is it missing, or what am I not getting? Or like, people all the time, like, you should raise your prices. Like, we hear that all the time. It's like, look, it's the strategy. It's not, again, we don't, I don't believe that software, needs to be super expensive. And any time that you see software companies, I mean, some of our competitors are charging, $1,100-$1,200 a month for the exact same feature set. Like, I mean, in my opinion, that is highway robbery. That's greed. Like, you don't need to do that. Or maybe they have, again, they have just built out a huge overhead. They might have, hundreds or, just so many employees that, like, again, they're not efficiently operating their business. And so you're having to pay for that in that subscription price. We think that, we can build a very efficient, and profitable, software company here without having to price gouge.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so anything additional you'd like to add about JobTread? Anything you'd want to mention as we kind of close out here?
I'd just say, I'd love the opportunity to show you what we're doing, how we can help your business. If you're even mildly interested, please do go to our website. There are a ton of videos and content. If you don't want to go through a sales, demo, you certainly don't have to. But, again, it's a great resource. Both our salespeople have come from construction, as well as our customer success team. Like, when you think about it, you could pay a lot of money for business coaching, or you can just get that included with JobTread. Like, we have helped thousands of companies implement JobTread and have seen them and seen the challenges that they face just in their business in general. And we are happy and excited to help you build a better business. I think there's really, it should be a nominal cost. And my hope would be that we can get you to a place where you're selling more jobs, you're making more money, and you're actually spending more time with your family and doing what you love, instead of having to be, grinding it out. Like, it takes a little bit of time up front to get it implemented, but we're here to help you. And we'd love that opportunity to show you what we can do.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't see why someone, at least, I think everybody should at least check it out. If you're using software, you're probably paying a lot more than what, JobTread is. So, checking out the videos and kind of seeing if it is a good fit. Like, obviously we know for fencing and decking that it does work for that, but might be a good way to just get some savings and, have that extra money to put into marketing or whatever, hiring somebody, whatever the case may be. But I have several clients that use spreadsheets, things like that. If you guys are using spreadsheets, like, this is definitely something you should be reaching out about, because it's going to save you all kinds of time and headache. And I mean, it's just, oh gosh. I mean, I think most people can understand the frustration of spreadsheets and using that over and over again. So highly recommend,
I definitely, there's like, if you go on our website or just jobtread.com/webinars, or on our YouTube, like, there's some really awesome webinars that we've done with like deck builders and most recently I'm thinking about this one. It's called Estimating and Pricing Strategies with JobTread. It was co-hosted by Timber Tech, but we've got Jamie Carlson from Hard Decks and Steve Kirk from Premier Deck. They do a demo and show how they're using JobTread, and you've got two different strategies about how they're doing it. But again, it's just a really insightful to be able to see it in action. Again, not just the demo. Like, don't take my word for it. Like, go and listen to them and see how it has made a huge impact on their business and how they're now doing millions of dollars a year. And every single job, it's run through JobTread. They very quickly can get in there, get those estimates out. Their goal is to take the prospect off the market as fast as possible and get them into their process and get their builds done. So definitely encourage you to go watch a couple of that. Even if you're not going to use JobTread, you're using something else. I think there's a lot of value that you can get, learning from other businesses who have, been in your shoes. They've maybe a little bit farther along. They're sharing all of this. I also say, check out my podcast, Builder Stories. You can go to builderstories.com. You can get it on Spotify, Apple podcasts, like Amazon, all the normal podcasts. But like there's a ton of great builders, and I think that there's a lot that you can learn just hearing what their challenges were, how they got into construction, how they overcame the hardest parts of building and scaling their business. So I think there's a lot that can be learned just from the education and the content that we put out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking before we started recording, that's absolutely critical to be able to hear those success stories and like learning from other people. So that's exactly what I try to do with this podcast, is just, a community, I guess, where you can just kind of listen to people talk and shop, ones that have gone through what you're going through right now, all kinds of different success stories. And I forgot to mention that Steve Kirk. Yeah, that's how I originally heard of JobTread, because he was always promoting it so so much. And he's got a pretty cool story there, and I listened to the podcast that he did there. But Eric, I think that's pretty much everything I had, all the questions I had for you. I do appreciate you coming on here and sharing everything and going into such great detail of everything. I think everyone that was listening to this has a much better idea of how JobTread could potentially help them, and also really just the realization it's probably worth checking out and seeing if it is a good fit for you, and seeing if it is something that can help you be more efficient, more profitable, or just save you money in general. So I think everyone got a ton of value from this. And going forward with the Fence and Deck Mastery podcast, I'm going to be continuing to kind of go in this format. I want to bring on exciting guests and people that will bring on really just new perspectives, anything that would really help the fencing and decking communities. So if it was helpful, if you like this episode, feel free to share it. And if you can, subscribe to the podcast or leave a review, that would be a huge help to us too. So we can get more people, listening to this type of content. And of course, if you do have any questions about your fencing or decking company, anything related to the marketing, feel free to reach out to us through our website, deckfencemarketers.com. And then also every social media channel we post about daily on there. But that's about it. That's really all I had for you guys today, Eric. I do appreciate you for coming on and sharing your story.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Alex.
All right, Eric, take care, and we'll see you guys on the next podcast.
All right, see you.